Okay, guys, it's
We're good.
4 o'clock, February 27th. I call this meeting to order.
For the allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So first thing on the agenda is the February 13th council meeting minutes. Are there any changes, deletions, additions? No. I would entertain a motion to approve the February 13th council meeting minutes.
I make a motion to accept the February 13th, 2024 council meeting minutes as stand. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, reports. Chris?
Okay, first one I would like to do is just, and I got some literature on it, so it's our AED pads. They have an expiration date. They're expired. I'd like to get 2 sets, and I would like to get that whole thing there, because that's the batteries, small child pad, adult pad.
What is it?
That's what starts your heart
Oh, okay.
after your,
Would you explain to some of us?
so, yeah, I could bring it in, well, something that's part of
Yeah,
it. But
that's what
we
it is.
have 2 of them, and the pads are expired.
So the pads themselves actually just expired?
They got a date on them that,
Mhm.
and we sure don't wanna,
No,
be using this equipment and push the button and it not work.
okay, so the complete includes
The
the whole,
complete, yep.
all this, not
Yes.
just the piecemeal.
Yeah, for kids and adults and new batteries and all that. And other than that, that's something for you to, think about. It's kind of a, gotta do it.
Yeah, right.
Is that the 623 for the?
Yeah, that's the
15?
whole, that's the
The
whole
whole
thing.
thing.
Yep, I just.
Two.
And 2. Yeah. And I want to thank the volunteers. I got to scribble a bunch of notes. A guy called me today and was telling me about a guy that would like to, he's wrote grants, he's fire chief in, over on the coast.
We talked about.
Yeah, he's got trucks, he's got, 9 trucks out of the 10 grants that he's wrote. He thinks we ought to go for 2 trucks here because we're in such a good position because the newest one we got, structure truck, is 41 years old. And so I would like to just get permission to let him know that he could work towards that, since it's 100% grants.
Has to go be written for through the city though. You'll have to
Yes.
submit it.
Yeah, yeah, I don't want him to put a bunch of time into it and then, somebody say, well, we didn't need new ones. If they're,
Well, what you guys, are you okay with that?
Well, I'm real good with it. Yeah, I've talked to him before.
Okay, because I think,
Same
yeah.
issues, yeah.
he's called me before.
okay, they'll fit in the station better and,
You remember what his name was?
I can get it.
The guy that lives in the greenhouse.
Oh, okay.
What's that town by Astoria? Cannon Beach. He's the fire chief of Cannon Beach.
Oh, okay. So he's
Does
sorry.
that mean we get to eliminate a couple vehicles?
We would just trade them out, give them to whoever might need them.
Give them the stuff, Powder River, ours is only 50 years old.
So this is actually a picture of what he recommends. He says what everybody's going to. They're called mini pumpers. They pump more water than our big truck,
Oh, really?
and it's on a F650 Ford frame.
Okay.
And it pumps more volume of water with less PSI,
Mhm.
so that 4 wheel drive, so that our crew, because we're all getting up there, we crank up one of the big pumps and it could just blow us across the street.
Okay,
And then you guys have been talking about the grant stuff, so I've called the trailer guy today and that. He's supposed to be sending me back his price. He's the guy that's recently bought to the Sumter area, owns Trailer World dump trailer. Stacking grant, I'm gonna dig the date out to make sure I didn't miss it, but I think it's a real good deal and Rob's the one that kind of got me fired up on it last year. Saying I was probably the only one that didn't apply for it in Baker County. And is what it does is on during fire season, I can make a schedule for, 3 guys. You cannot leave the radius of Sumter all day long. And because they stay here, they get paid $15 an hour. It's a $35,000 grant. Sounds like it's pretty darn easy to get.
Through.
Oregon State Fire Marshal.
I think you sent that.
I did, I sent it, yeah.
So we got it.
And from what I got wrote down here, that's probably about all I got. Oh, we've been getting busy with medical calls, been responding well to those.
Good, I'm
So,
glad you're responding well.
yes, we're responding well.
Okay.
And that's all I got.
Thank you.
Kurt,
Terry.
did you get the tractor quote?
I did, yes, I got mine here.
Okay. So Matt can get it. Okay. Thank you, Kurt.
Yeah.
Okay, new business. We have assignment of a lot address to number 09S3729DD lot 100. Keith?
Paolo,
How-
Paolo.
Oh, it wasn't the last name. was
I
it?
know, I forgot to update it.
Okay. And so you have a copy of the map here, and he also needs an address, he's also asking, he's turned in a zoning permit to build a house and a carport, I believe it was. And then you have a copy of the residential limited zone, because this property is in the RL zone. So that creates a different direction. So let's go with the address first.
Charlie, that's on the left-hand side of, the unconstructed ibex, but
Right hand side.
that property would be on the left.
Left is this way, right? Am I right?
If
It's
I'm
on the
going
right
down the
side.
road, it's on the hill on the left,
Right. All right.
but it would be up on the hill, not down the hill.
It ain't up the hill, to the right, down in the hill, there's a hole to the left. So you go right at the
Oh,
power
okay, so
pole.
it's okay, lot
You
7.
just seen it.
Yeah, I know, but for some reason I thought it was on the left. Just, okay, the block before 200, 300, so you still have the lot 7 and that one's lot 1, so like a high number 450, to keep everything in that section of 400s. Or do you guys want it higher, lower? Because you have 350 at the top, north and ibex, even though it's been vacated, and 330 at the bottom, and then you have the 200s.
Yeah.
I think 450, so something in the 400 range, but it has to be, even number. Cause everything there is even, I'm trying to get it slowly straightened out.
So will that give you a,
Well, that will give you, you could go 410, 420, 430, 440, all the way up to 500. You can go 422, so that gives you all the even numbers. It gives
so if they
you-
wanted to split it off, they still can?
Yeah, you would have 50 points, 25 addresses above and 25 below.
And this is gonna be 450 ibex.
Yes. Would it be ibex since ibex isn't constructed up there?
This is the other ordeal because of where this piece of property is. We can give him an address, that's simple, out of this whole process. This street has to be put in. It's not constructed, so we have to put it in according to what. the city-
zone says.
Yeah, and then, the water and the sewer lines go up to connect to his place. And when we kind of looked at what the footage is going to be, because it's going to start from Granite and come up. So it's like 500 feet, 400 and something.
Okay,
So it has to have the main line put in because there will be a fire hydrant at the end of this one.
so there's currently no existing water and sewer rate in this section here? No road, no constructed road up to that, and it is the RL district, which is residential limited, so anybody that builds in the residential limited is responsible for putting in a road to city standards and paying for that, plus also paying for water and sewer, because it's residential limited according to our ordinance. Right.
Okay, first thing, are we okay with giving him 450 IBEX?
And it's fine with
Yeah.
it.
So we need to make a motion.
Sure, go ahead.
I make a motion that we put this piece of property at 450 IBEX.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Okay, so next thing you have is his zoning permit. Zoning. Where his house is going to be, where the driveway is going to be. So it looks like he has plenty of.
He meets they meet the setbacks on that. I think any motion to okay that should be that they understand that the financial burden of putting in the city's continuing on the unconstructed city street is on them. Financially also, laying the lines for the septic and the water is on them.
So do you wanna, can we put contingencies on this? Because the easiest thing to say is until this road is constructed and the lines are put in, you can't build.
True.
Huh?
Well, that would keep them from being within the city limits, living off grid.
Correct.
And he,
Because that's one of the issues where people put in their little goat trail saying, well, we'll just go live off grid. Because we're not gonna put this in, well, we're gonna build this house or cabin, whatever it is you wanna build here. And then they occupy it, and then the next thing you know, they either sell it to somebody else, and then the city's stuck with the burden of, well, guess what, you gotta put this in. Cause that's what the county of Baker County does. Baker County says, here's the road, it gets to your place, you have to improve the road. And before you can have a building permit. Once the road is met to the city specifications, then you can have a building permit and now you move forward.
and of course, you gotta realize, once, they had done all that, then it is our road and the city's responsible for plowing it to them.
Correct.
Well, he even has designated power, septic and water, but he doesn't know if that's where that's gonna go to, depending upon how far up the
Right.
city brings the
Because
water.
right now, he's going out the wrong way of his piece of property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's headed towards, High Street,
Mhm.
which is clear across his piece of property. Because High Street's clear over here.
And the
Well-
city wouldn't pay to bring his water all the way up there.
No,
No,
Or
he's
the
in
sewer.
RL, he's RL, this, yes, yeah, the property owners have to supply that themselves. They have to financially
Right.
supply that themselves and pay for that to be brought up according to the ordinance in the RL district.
and like I said, because of where this piece of property is gonna go, according to, state rules, regulations, and the law, says that you have to have a fire hydrant within 400 feet. And the fire hydrant we have is on Granite. There's one here at Granite and Ibex on the far corner. But if this is a 400 to, I think it's closer to 500 feet when we looked into it from here to here. So you have to have a fire hydrant because his house is gonna be on his piece of property further than that.
So basically, we would be responsible to put the plumbing
No,
to the fire hydrant, or he would have to do,
he gets to fund it.
he does also, that's what I thought.
Well, according to the ordinance, something we should probably look at too is, if the proposed site is not served by an appropriate street, then an agreement between the owner, the other affected landowners, and the city to construct a street to standard must be negotiated before final approval to grant a permit. So I think we should have a discussion with them before we, and let them know what it all entails when they decide to build in an RL limited district, what it's gonna cost them.
Yeah, because otherwise it's gonna be, we're gonna blindside them with this. There's a lot of material up there we get to work with. But there's a ton of trees that's gotta come out. And like I said, some of the trees are marketable free, but trying to get somebody to come up and actually take the trees out. Because right now, the mills are getting plugged up. So trying to find a logger to come up and take them out at a reasonable rate. There's a lot there, there's a lot to look at on this piece of property.
There's a lot to construct that street.
So is there sewer and water in, on this street?
The street is-
That's High Street,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's water and sewer in High Street.
up to this point?
It's in here somewhere. I'm not exactly sure how far past this intersection it goes,
Okay.
but this is through a hole.
Oh, this is where the hole is?
This is another hole that comes in and ties
Okay.
into this.
Okay, so it's not a doable deal there either.
Well, it goes to Hill's house, correct? The one up on the right, the water and sewer goes to that house, so.
Water and sewer comes down their driveway
Yeah.
into our system from Hills. Along with where Rick Berry bought that corner lot down there,
Mhm.
that there also ties into this. It's gonna be interesting to see where it is in this, because this road that we have that is IBEX, because as of right now, part of that road is Hill's driveway. And if it comes through there, we may have to change that water and sewer. I've been told though by the city boys that actually the water comes in to Hills off of that alley, off of Ibex, this one right here,
Mhm.
is what I was told, because there's a main water line that goes up here. And that's where they pull water in. So I'm hoping that if anything, this little line that's in, or that little line for the sewer would be the only thing we would have to adjust. If they're right, because like I said, this here's a 60-foot wide street. So easement,
Well, even here, outright uses, permitted in an RL zone. The following uses and their accessory uses will be permitted. Uses permitted outright in the R zone, subject to the supplementary provisions of section 3.150, which, tells them what the evidence of septic suitability. So I would prefer to have a discussion with them before we grant the permit, so they understand the financial burden on them building this house in the RL district.
I agree.
So we'll just go ahead and table this. Okay, old business. I don't have any. Councilor comment, Bill, you got anything?
Nope.
Marcia?
No,
Bill?
The only thing that I got would be what I told you earlier about the guys is with the tire.
No, okay.
So you wanna tell
Yeah, we had a flat tire.
them? So we had a flat tire on the city pickup when they went to town today, went to Les Schwab, the tire was split. Next, almost to the sidewall, but it wasn't the sidewall, it was split. So it's unfixable, so they had to buy a new tire. I asked them how wore out the front tires were. And, they said it was below half, so I had them buy 2 tires and put on the front of the rig, because I don't wanna just buy 1 tire and nothing to pair it up with. Because later in life, we can go ahead and we can pair up the other 2. We'll move the 2 front steering tires to the drivers and then. So it's gonna be about a $700 bill. That was the only decision I made,
Okay.
and I have nothing else.
nothing for me.
Public comment?
I got something, more fire department stuff.
Okay.
volunteers wanted and volunteers needed for the Sumter Fire Department, if maybe that could go out in the water bill or something. First and third Tuesdays at 6:30, they would find us somewhere in town. If they're interested, they'll show up, I'm sure.
Okay.
But we do need more crew. If there's, newer people in town or something that want to do something, we could use them.
Is that, billboard still down there?
No.
No. Oh, it is? No, okay, I was just saying we could probably.
Well,
put
we
it on there.
might be able to drop a note in the bills, in the water bill.
Yeah, we can do that.
And that way it would reach maybe more people. A lot of people don't read the sign.
And I can put it on the website, no?
Yeah,
And the website would be great,
yeah,
great place.
okay, we'll do that. Anybody else?
Yes.
Yep.
I'd like to exchange a little information between the maintenance, the Charlie Snowmobile Club and the races in the parking lot. There's been some discussion that maybe the parking lot could be cleaned out by the groomer. Not gonna happen. That's why they call it a groomer. They can groom snow, but it doesn't move.
It's not a dozer.
It's not a dozer. So, I'd like to have you guys keep it on your mind, what we can do to next year to prevent 7 hours of cleaning out a parking lot. I'm sure one of the things is to start early on it and keep it cleaned out. What that takes, I don't know, but I'm just asking, just keep it on your forefront of your mind, because in the fall, we'll talk about it again.
The biggest thing is after Corey came in and he talked to us, and then I talked to Corey on the outside of City Hall. And I've said it before, if we get to where this is going to happen, then we need to just plow it out as we plow. It does not have to become priority number one, and I told this to Tim and Jeff. Priority number one is the LZ, and then plow out the rest of the city. And then once the rest of the city, because right now we've been getting breaks in between our snowstorms, or they can go out there and they can help clean. This go around because of the snow that we have, which
Yeah,
is
we
nothing
talked
but
about
ice.
Yeah.
And I told Tim straight up, I said, if I see that wing down, I'm gonna fire you.
Yeah.
And I said, cause I'm not gonna tear up our piece of equipment for the snowmobilers. Sorry.
Well, no,
Ain't gonna
and
do
it got very incredibly icy.
And then Jeff, he really can't do that much with this ice, so he was using our truck like a battering ram, and I told him, I said, this ain't good.
Yeah.
So I think it's up to the council, but I think that we just need to maintain it throughout the year. And whether or not, to me, at the price that we set, to me, I don't think it's a big deal for them to come up with $350, whether you do it or whether you don't.
Okay.
And I think that that's more than fair. They wanted a set price from the city. But the thing is, though, if we're gonna maintain it, because of this may or may not happen, because of the snow year.
Sure.
The thing is, though, I think it should be a burden that on them to make sure that, guess what, boys, you're gonna pay us whether you use it or not.
Well, oh, I see what you're saying. Well, the other thing along those same lines is that we run into problems with parking with snowmobilers in the town, period of time.
Right.
Many places. So, and that is a parking lot.
Well, and seeing that would be up to the city too, because I thought about that also, that if we kept it clean, then we could go there too. And I'm not sure you would be the person to talk to see what the snowmobile agency or whatever you want to call it, the club can do to help offset some of the city's costs.
He's president.
Yeah, so that's why I said you would be the one to do that. And I'm not saying that you have to pay for it all, because the city is putting in a lot of time to do this. But like I said, we don't have to plow it every time there's 6 inches.
No.
But the thing is, though, we should be able to start and then maintain it like per foot.
Right.
So that way it can stay maintained.
Right.
Instead of letting it get away from us.
Yeah, like I said, it doesn't need to be down to the dirt. It'd probably be non-productive in that way unless it just melts off itself. But if you just keep it down so vehicles can travel on it
Well, once you
from
start
time to time, that'd be great.
once you start plowing it and you keep doing that, you end up with that base.
Yeah.
So then it's like, and then that way you don't tear it up. And then, but yeah, I know Tim, he said he talked to, well, no, he actually talked to,
Wes?
and, about just running the groomer back over it. And I says, once again, it's a groomer, not a dozer. And I said, just because it's got the blade on the front, and I said, and that groomer, to me, has not been that great of a groomer since the day that they bought it brand new.
Well,
It's had a
it's,
lot of issues.
yeah, kind of drifting off. As far as the trails are concerned, that's what it's designed for, to pack it down, and after you groom a trail, it needs to be set up for a day or two before it's really
Right.
usable and doesn't pack down. But anyway, with the parking lot thing, one other thing you mentioned about the parking lot. These trucks and these trailers that come in with snowmobiles or racing rigs or whatever, you could be looking at a 40-foot rig. So that parking lot, to make it usable, 50-foot wide you're limited to maybe 12 rigs. And sometimes, they expected 30 rigs up here this year.
Right.
So at a minimum wide, you're looking at probably 80 feet.
Right.
So, just something to put in your heads, start thinking about, and I'll talk with the club and see maybe we can come up with some kind of an arrangement, offset, the costs and that kind of thing.
Cause like I said, once we get it set and we get a base built up after the first 6 inches or the first foot or whatever, then after that, it only needs to be done like every foot.
Right.
Unless it goes to raining, because when it goes to raining, then you end up with what we got today, and that's where we can hold it. Our grader's not a dozer either,
Right.
you know, so, I mean, that's just the way to see it.
Well, if the council can come up with the price that they're comfortable with and see if we can, and I'll go to the club. We got 2 months left for next fall, but, and then we can go ahead and say, hey, this is what city council suggests, and can we offset it based on what their needs are? And we'll see where it goes from there.
Well, as an operator, I'm looking at it as, you take that 7 hours that we spent one day to do not the fabulous job to get it done, because it shouldn't take Tim more than an hour with a foot of snow on the ground to grade that off.
Right.
So if you divide that up, you know, that's a lot of plowing.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's 7.
That would have covered
That
this year.
would be 7 to 8 different plows.
That would have covered the whole year.
Right.
Yeah.
So I
Anyway.
think we're in the ballpark of where we need to be,
Mhm.
you know, but if we're gonna also benefit by doing it this way for the snowmobile club, I think that they should contribute something.
Oh, absolutely. But just remember too, it's not just for the snow, it's for sledders that aren't even members, they're snowmobilers.
Parking other people. Just-
Well, we know because that's like down at Ryan's, when they all park there, and then everybody goes to whining because we got trucks and trailers.
Right.
And vehicles all out in the intersection.
Yeah.
And that's when I tell them, I said, burn them in.
Yeah,
That was-
anyway,
we
I
can
won't,
resolve
I won't
that.
take up any more of your time, just something to put in the back of your heads and.
Sure, we'll do that, Mike. Thanks.
I have one more.
Okay,
On that quote I gave you there, so that's
oh, the-
the equipment that the manufacturer of the AED recommends. That's, I'm gonna say the top of the line.
Mhm.
If you go shopping on Amazon or something, you're probably gonna find a product
mhm.
cheaper, but not as quality.
Okay, no, I mean, we want to make sure we have. the
It's
right
something
equipment.
that,
Or you
yeah,
want-
because they're 5-year batteries and stuff, so.
Could be my Harley story. Right.
Yeah,
10-year
yeah, we want the good equipment.
Is this something?
That particular thing, yes.
No, this is what we were good, that he's suggesting we get.
I understand what you're suggesting, but I'm asking council, or you wanna kick it around and, or are we just
Well,
wanna say
no.
this looks good and this is what we wanna do?
I mean,
Because if so, let's get it off our plate.
okay, so.
We got enough stuff coming up.
You're looking at $1,250.
Okay. So, do I have a motion to go forward and get the AED monitor and accessory kits ordered, 2 of them for the fire department?
Make the motion, get some fire department, their, Heart Smart AED equipment for 2.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. More money for you to spend for,
Yep.
anything else? I have a
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
4:30 and we're adjourned.